How to gather data mid-match. How to actually adapt. This is a high-level strategy. Do not let anybody tell you different. The act of adapting to your opponent's playstyle and then later along the line adapting to their adaptation patterns is extremely chess-like in behavior of Tekken. This is why Tekken is compared to chess quite a bit, because of the measures that you go through in order to gaining advantage and pressing, especially when your opponent knows your toolkit. Because most people will kind of disengage with the fantasy that Tekken is like chess because all characters are not built the same. In chess, it's kind of like you both have the same pieces. But if you look at it with just a slightly different perspective, what you'll actually notice is that they are quite similar in the fact that if you look at the individual pieces not as specific character moves, but rather as specific hit properties, like fast hitting mid heat engager, quick mid launcher, quick mid poke, like down forward one. A couple of characters have these traits. Hop kick, low crushing attack. Ooh. So Tekken really is a game where you kind of take what you're given and make a decision based on that data, and then be perfectly fine that that data can change at any given time. I know that may sound like word spaghetti a bit, but I'll go further into it, and I feel like you'll be able to understand it as you watch.
Don't miss me winning.
Each character has over 100 different moves, quite literally, in fact. So any move can come out at any time, and you kind of have to deal with the various properties of those individual moves. So when we make decisions, we really make decisions for multiple moves in consideration. This can create a mental stack in your head while you're playing and while you're trying to implement your strategy. At the same time, you're trying to micro read and read what the opponent's doing. And that's some master level shit. Our fighting GM does this while he plays. He's a lead player, one of the greatest there ever was. Gathering data is a necessary step towards being more effective as a player. I'm not the best Steve player online, but I was able to hit Tekken King after a very short amount of time. I don't really play ranked like that. However, I'm able to keep up with various Tekken God and God of Destruction level players, whereas when I started back in Tekken 6, I was not able to even keep up with green rank players. Same for most of my Tekken Tag 2 career. And after mastering this, Tekken God will be accessible with any character. By learning how to gather data and then putting it in tandem with the other steps that I've given you, you will be able to craft a winning strategy with Steve or practically with any character and be able to win fundamentally without having to rely on a lot of the crazy moves that were added in Tekken 8 that are loaded with a lot of special effects and special hit frames. I'm going to introduce you to the concept of taking mental notes during matches slowly. I mentioned this in our approaching neutral video or our opening gambit video, that whenever you play a match, whatever questions you ask yourself during the match or whatever questions you ask yourself during a difficult activity will be the sort of through line of decisions that you make. That paradigm will guide your decisions, especially on a micro level when you have to make a lot of quick decisions like in Tekken. Or with driving, for instance. With driving, we make a lot of micro decisions while we're on the road in real time. This is something that has to be done with Tekken almost triple times, 10 times over, if you are really in a high level match with an opponent that has been playing the game for quite some time. If you push yourself towards asking questions during the match, you'll find that your results will change and may drastically improve by simply just shifting the perspective of your current mindset. So a couple of questions I ask myself when I am playing a match, or if I'm reviewing a match in my head after it's ended and we're in the middle of a set, it would be, how did I get launched? If I got launched during that set, how did I get launched? If I did not get launched, did I get poked to death? and what moves were the primary moves that poked me. And instead of taking this information and just saying, I'm going to look out for down back 4 and then hyper focusing on that move and then losing when they rotate other moves, I will simply keep this move in mind and use a counter crushing move instead. So if I feel like a low is coming, instead of just crouching for it, trying to just block it in case it comes, I will take a harder stance for the read. I will either go for a low parry, which is what you see most veterans do. They'll go for a fuzzy low parry where they'll kind of nudge it down forward, where they will hit down or crouch, and then they will hold down forward for a frame or two, and then rock it back and forth between down back and block so that we can cover multiple options that the opponent can potentially throw out. This is being defensively responsible in case some of the slower moves come out mid and the fast move comes out low. We can cover that fast low, or maybe that more risky slower mid that they potentially use, like a hop kick or a different kind of launcher like Harang's back 3. We can cover if he does down 3 by doing that quick down forward and then hold back just in case he does something else crazy to continue his offense. The 3 reasons we lose, and there are 3 reasons we mainly lose during a match, and I'll explain those here. Typically, if we were to review a match or the reason why we lost a match, it is either because we've gotten mixed up, we've gotten kept out, or we got punished on whiff at several intervals of the game. And it doesn't have to be these 3 individually. They can be a combination of these 3 with percentages attached. And that's typically what it is if you were to take this perspective and view the match in that way. Go back and look at a replay you've had against a difficult opponent or an opponent that you felt you were better than, and you will see that either they hit you with some mix-up of mid and low, which is the mixed up reason to lose. You got mixed. You were kept out by a particular button. Brian is infamous for this. Brian's 3+4. It's options that keep you at bay and have counter hit properties or have properties that can put the opponent at an advantage or plus, where they can transition to mixing you up. Punished on whiff. This is a case usually more higher level where you are whiffing buttons either intentionally or unintentionally. Intentionally being if the opponent has counter hit setups that are calculated for you in fight theory to press and then hit you. That's the trap setups here. Or it was unintentionally would be if you're throwing out moves from range 4 or 3 and then your opponent is in range and you get launched. So for instance, whiffing moves out here and then you get caught. If you analyze your play style, these are typically the 3 reasons that you'll see in varying percentages. Now, there are several ways to counter these individual play styles that I will go over.